My name is Michaela Cordingley, and I've been involved with and volunteering for HopeSpring since 2020. In 2020, I created and started facilitating a workshop called Chemo, the Impact of Cancer Treatment on Memory, Thinking, and Attention. This is an educational workshop that, as the title suggests, talks about Chemo, which is essentially a term that sums up the cognitive changes and experiences resulting from undergoing cancer treatment. And that's not necessarily strictly towards chemotherapy, but it's kind of an umbrella term. So the workshop is aimed at both individuals on their cancer journey who want to further understand what they might be experiencing, as well as caretakers and any family members who wish to educate themselves on the best way to support their loved one in this journey. And I've also recently begun getting involved in the Women's and Teens Support Group here at Hope Springs, which has been an extremely supportive community, again, as the name suggests, and a space that I feel very lucky to be a part of and included in. When I had started at Hope Spring, I began as an undergraduate student in psychology at Laurier, and I was in my co-op terms, which is how I got involved with HopeSpring. I had a grant and I was able to work for HopeSpring over the summer. And after that, I've gotten now into the social work field. So I'm in school for a degree in social work, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So I learned about HopeSpring while I was educating myself on not-for-profit organizations within the KW area in my undergrad, like I said, at Laurier. And I was very attracted to the work that HopeSpring does within the community, as it aligns, of course, not only with my education, but also with things that I'm very passionate about. And I was lucky enough to secure a summer position as a co-op student, and I've been volunteering with HopeSpring ever since. They cannot get rid of me. So my connection to cancer is through my grandfather and my grandmother, who I've been extremely close with my whole entire life. When I was a teenager, I watched my grandfather battle with cancer multiple times. I saw kind of the all-consuming toll it took on him as he fought, as well as on my grandmother, who was the primary caregiver. And over years, I saw the ups and the downs for both of them, both physically and mentally. And even though, they tried to shield me from a lot of the harsher realities of their fight, and my grandfather did end up passing away very suddenly following a fast-moving reoccurrence of his cancer. Because of this, and obviously for many other reasons, I feel very lucky to be a part of Hope Spring and hopefully to lighten the load and make people's journey a little easier. Yeah, of course, it kind of shaped my direction. Essentially, so I've always had an interest in mental health, mental wellness. That's why I went into psychology. And then when I became a co-op student at Hope Spring, I kind of saw my path going in a direction of patient advocacy, mental health and wellness support for those who have maybe chronic illness or dealing with a long health journey, that kind of thing. So Hope Spring really shaped my path and still aligns with a lot of the stuff I'm very interested in. So once I found Hope Spring, I got in touch with, the volunteer coordinator and everything, and discovered, like I said, I was very passionate, not only about educating individuals on mental health and wellness, as well as Chemo. And I have seen, how powerful having a greater knowledge is in the hands of people who might not have the language to describe or maybe don't know what's going on with their situation. It especially helps people to feel more in control of their own journey, because it can often feel they're kind of, spinning through space upside down in terms of having control over their own body, for instance, or things of that nature. So I also want to teach individuals to be their own best advocate, essentially, and make themselves heard so their needs can be met by their care team, and also maybe their family, and even with themselves, with like self-care and making time for yourself. So I've, felt inspired by the Hope Spring community when my co-op term came to an end, and, I've stayed on as a volunteer ever since, and, it's been good. In addition to, providing the knowledge, and even just having the knowledge makes things easier to search up if you know what words you're looking for, so you can do more research on your own. And hopefully strategies that will help members and caregivers not only better understand, better cope with, and more so take charge of their chemo brain experience. Through the workshop, I also hope to, like I'd said, empower individuals with the language, the resources to better advocate for themselves in a healthcare setting along their cancer journey, because it is a skill that does, need to be developed, and feeling more confident in advocating for your own needs. And with the support groups, the largest takeaway I'd like members to gain is a level of enduring mindfulness, of self-compassion, feeling forgiveness for yourself for if you are going through a hard time, making space for yourself, and also feeling that HopeSpring and the support group members are walking alongside and, very literally supporting them in their journey. So all of the programs I run are run through Zoom, and the Chemo Brain workshop runs in the afternoon on the last Sunday of each month. The teen support group is the first and third Wednesday of each month, and the women's support group is the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. And you can check all the dates out and register for any of these through the HopeSpring website. So the HopeSpring workshop, or the Chemo Brain workshop, being an educational focused workshop, has the largest portion, is an educational component where we look at and try to more completely understand chemo brain, and hopefully give people the vocabulary, like I said, to understand themselves in, what goes beyond the 1 hour program. It's really about giving people the resources and beginnings to develop the skills of things that can go beyond the 1 hour program, and helps people to speak to what they're going through, whether that is within themselves as an individual, speaking to friends, family, or their healthcare team. And this is followed by going through different strategies that help lessen, hopefully, the impact of chemo brain on day-to-day life, so hopefully improving the quality of life. And I do try to provide a diverse variety of strategies for members so they can pick and choose what works best for them. And if the thing they picked maybe doesn't work best for them or doesn't fit into their life, there's a whole, body of work behind that where they have other options they can select and pick what works for them over time. We also talk about, like I said, chemo brain and advocating for yourself in a healthcare setting. And at the end, there's time for questions, discussions. It's more of an open-ended conversation where there's been laughter, there's been tears, there's been, people connecting, sharing, and relating to one another. And overall, it's been a very impactful experience for myself and, those who have participated in it. So within the support group, we would begin by kind of centering ourselves. So there's, breathwork exercise where you do in through your nose for 7 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and then out slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. And that's a breathing exercise that calms the nervous system, kind of helps you feel grounded, more present. And then following that is like an introduction and a short catch up. And then we can just get into, talking about whatever anyone wants to bring to the table that week. And it's low pressure, no one's put on the spot type of thing. It's just, speaking from your mind, from your heart to others who are experiencing very similar things. So we've had lovely feedback, particularly from the Chemo Brain workshop, from those who have attended, and they've said in emails and even visiting the workshop a second time that they felt their experiences were validated. They felt like it helped them kind of take control of this one aspect of their cancer journey, which it feels good to have something where you can make decisions that are only for you. People have also said that attending the workshop has helped them discuss what they're going through with their family, or prompted them to, seek some sort of counseling, which has then improved their mental state, their quality of life. So it's been a really positive experience, I think, for myself and for those who attend. What we would define as chemo brain is any, thinking um, or processing issues that would stem from a myriad of cancer treatments. Chemo brain, it's just most popular or most common with those going through chemotherapy. And essentially, it is kind of a persistent feeling of having, a groggy brain, kind of feeling like you're trudging through mud, not being able to finish your sentence, even though the word is just on the tip of your tongue, you just can't get it out, or maybe you're more forgetful, things of that nature. So it's often something that people try to ignore and without realizing how much it really impacts their quality of life. So when they do speak to their healthcare team about it, or they do try to implement some strategies from the workshop, they realize that the burden's not as heavy. I also give strategies to family members, for instance, on how to lighten the load of the HopeSpring member who is on their cancer journey. So something like, if you see that their glasses are somewhere where it shouldn't be, always put their glasses back in the same place if you see it, or their car keys, always put it back on the hook on the door or something, just to make life a little easier. And it's a lot of these little things that build up and contribute to fatigue or contribute to feeling less mentally healthy or well. So chemo brain is something that someone can deal with at home with things that work best for them, and it can really improve the quality of life. So I think there's many, but I think the most rewarding thing about being a part of HopeSpring is hearing that you're making a positive impact on people's lives, and seeing HopeSpring members connect with and support each other along their journeys, and kind of creating this network of support for other people. It's not necessarily like in daily life, you don't necessarily get to make a positive impact that you can so clearly see or even are told about. So it's very validating to see that the efforts that volunteers at HopeSpring are changing positively the lives of members. I would say just give it a try. You can participate as much or as little as you want. You can be there to listen. You can be there to be heard. You can be supported by all the lovely people who dedicate their time and invest their energy into the community at HopeSpring. And also, we'd love to have you here.